when the clean saplings become covered with the dirt of the five vices, then corruption increases. So the clean saplings, so we souls were clean saplings in the golden age and silver age, and then the clean saplings got covered with the dirt of the five vices, and then corruption increases. Now I was just thinking about this corruption, so, and how it is related to the five vices. So you see that when we study the chapter on the soul, then in knowledge of the buddhi, the intellect, there is a picture of a scale, so a balancing scale, tarazu, and in that image of a balancing scale, so an intellect, a buddhi, is depicted as a balancing scale. And you know that if that balancing scales, the pointer of the balancing scale is not right, the kanta, the pointer in the balancing scale is not accurate, then the judgment of the scale would not be okay. So when the vices enter the soul, then the pointer of the intellect, the pointer of the buddhi ka kanta is swerved. It is not accurate anymore. And what we do is corruption, but we don't understand it. And there are corruption of various, and I think, these days corruption has become, so there was somebody who said that corruption is a ubiquitous phenomena. So corruption is everywhere, and it is so much that in these times we don't differentiate between what is corruption and what is not corruption also. So when the buddhi loses its accuracy to discern and decide, then you perform acts, you make choices, you behave in a manner which is actually corrupt, but I don't know whether we realize it. So let's understand that what happens when the five vices enter the soul. So let's say greed enters the soul, yes? Then today Baba is giving an example of how, in the British era, so there were wealthy people who gave a lot of money to the Britishers and they earned titles. So, when there is ego and greed working, so ego in this person that I will not put in any effort for something for which I can pay. So the person who has ego will think that I will do everything by paying for it. I will get everything by paying for it. I will not deserve it or earn it. And the person with greed will think that it is okay. So even if somebody didn't deserve it, they have paid for it, so it's okay. So this is how, the system gets corrupted. And I think that this thing about, I have even heard that people are paying and getting awards. So you pay and you get an award. Now An award is a felicitation of your quality, but you don't have that quality, but you're buying it with money. But even that doesn't look like a bizarre thing these days. And these days, when we talk about it, we talk about it like, okay, these days, you can pay and get an award. So it's always like that. So now that we are under the sway of five vices, there is a lot of corruption. And the other day I heard a woman, and she was very proudly saying that I did something against another child. So my son did something in school, but I made sure that my son doesn't get punished, and the other fellow who was not in the wrong, and she herself admitted that he was not in the wrong, but he got punished, and I made sure that that happened. And she said, what is wrong with protecting your child? So she said that any mother would do that for a son, and she was talking like a proud mother, and she was not even able to see that that's not an okay karma. So this thing about corruption, so when there is attachment and bias based on blood relations or based on affinity with another soul, then you are not able to see that your karma is not accurate there. And sometimes, people will say that I am doing this, but any father would do this to help the child, or any mother would go to this length to sort out the issues with their children. And then, when the mother said, is it not the duty of a mother to protect a child? So I said, exactly. Are you protecting him? Or are you? So I told her that it's a very age old story that when a child turned into a thief, he went back to his mother and asked, why didn't you stop me when I stole the first pencil in school? So you don't understand that you are not creating a good destiny or a good culture, or you're not even protecting the ones you are meaning to protect by doing what you're doing. But when there is greed and ego and lust and anger and attachment in the soul, so that starts working, and then your buddhi is not functioning well. And there is this righteous corruption. I think these days corruption is such a norm that people think that it is okay to be corrupt, and if somebody is not corrupt, then you make a gang and laugh at that person, that you are so naive that you don't understand the ways of the world, and you need to grow up a little, and you need to understand the ways of the world. And what is the way of the world? The way of the world is corruption. So these days people will tell you that if you want something done, so if you want some attainment, some achievement, something, then it's not through hard work, but it's by massaging somebody's ego that you can have it. And you ask anybody, is it so according to Srimat also, you get what you deserve, or you get what you do for. So karma and result are related. But these days you are given this new knowledge or this vicious knowledge that you want something done, you want to get something. Don't do karma for it, massage the right person's ego for it. But all that is corruption. So Baba says that In Satyug, you don't have this corruption. So these days, lust, anger, ego, attachment, greed, they dominate our decisions, they dominate our discernment, and the decisions that we take and the discernment that we make is all based on the veil that these five vices are putting on the soul. So, and you see, when there is a veil on you, you cannot see clearly. So these five vices are making us so Baba is giving us a third eye, and these five vices are creating, are shrouding our two eyes also. So what is visible through the two eyes, or even through morality, what we understand is the right thing to do, that gets swerved when you are under the sway of the five vices. And these five vices have a logic of their own. So you engage in distorting the system because you are attracted to somebody. So there is a lady who told me that his wife insulted her in front of the secretary because he is having a relationship with the secretary. So the secretary, so the wife is the owner's wife, but the secretary was able to call out names to the wife and abuse her and say that you know nothing about the office, because that is what lust does. So when you are under the influence of lust, this kind of an act will happen. And but then everybody is getting away with it because this world has become a corrupt world. But then Baba also says that you get away with everything until you don't. So these karma, it when there is corruption, at that time immediately you don't get the results. But in yesterday's Murli, Baba very specifically pointed out that when you are making decisions and doing karma dictated by vices, then you look at the world, and this is a world of sorrow, disease, strife, untimely death. So all these are products of, all these are sufferings of this corrupt karma. So Baba says that in Satyug there will be no untimely death, there will be no disease, there will be no relationship with. So suddenly you see there are so many people who suddenly go bankrupt, and there is you see entire countries are going bankrupt in 1 second these days. So this sudden bankruptcy, this sudden coming of disease, this sudden deaths, these things are all, the products of the corrupt karma that we have done over the ages. And we've all done it because we didn't know. So we always thought, we were taught and we learned and we thought that it is okay to use your ego if it is inflated. So if you have a position, abuse it, it's okay. So and if somebody has greed, then feed it, it's okay. Or if there is attraction, then be unfair because you're pulled by that attraction, and it's okay. If there is attachment, then you give undue favors to the one you attach to, and that's okay. So we always have been raised in this culture. So we never understood that all this is corruption. Yes, and the thing is, you are given everything in trust. So what is the truth? Baba says your body, mind, wealth, relationship, position, status, education, everything has been given to you by drama in trust. You are a trustee. Yes, you are a trustee. The truth is this, and Baba says, when you are a trustee, your job is to put the resources to right use. So, your job is not to spoil the child or facilitate the child. Your job is to help the child reach his best version. Your job is not to abuse the body for sensual pleasure, but to take care of the body so that the body can help you do something for the world, for the betterment of the world. Your job is not to, use your money in a way to fulfill, your desires and your whims and fancies, or to put somebody other down, or buy something, some title, some position by paying for it. Your job is to use your money in a worthwhile way so that you can create a better world. So Baba says, your resources are given to you in trust. And when you stop being a trustee and you start abusing your resources, whether it is your position, your money, your relationships, your body, then it is corruption and you will pay for it. So Baba today says that when you start remembering Baba, and when you start coming to the realization of who you really are and what your real purpose is, then you start using your resources on Srimad rather than being dictated by vices. Yes, and you see that in a government office also, when you are given something in trust, so you have a budget and it is sanctioned and you are in charge of distributing the funds or allocating the funds, and then sometimes greed will take over or ego will take over, and you don't mind the guidelines and you just do it according to yourself, according to your mat, the way you like it. Then what happens? Maybe even 20 years you get away with it. I have seen people who have misused funds and gotten away with it for 20 years. But then one day you don't get away with it. And that day you end up in jail. And similarly, Baba says that I have given everything to you in trust. Something that you call my body, my relationship, my wealth, my position, my power, everything has been given to you in trust. So don't go into the pulls of Maya. So Maya will pull you into abusing everything. But don't give into those pulls of Maya. Just understand that everything belongs to Shiv Baba and it has to be used according to Srimad and according to Baba's directions. Otherwise, you will pay for it. Not today, tomorrow, and not in terms of going to a jail, but living in the jail of sorrow. So, when there is physical pain, emotional pain, untimely death, or there is loss of social status or financial status due to some external event, then you always tend to ask yourself, what have I done? But Baba says, you have been doing it. It's not what you have done. It's what you've been doing for so long, 2500 years. You are using everything dictated by vices. So that's what's creating this kind of a sorrowful destiny, and you are in the jail of Ravan, experiencing a lot of sorrow because of that. So Baba is warning us against corruption. And this is why Baba today says, if you want to come out of this jail, if you want to go back to that world where everything is just and fair and beautiful, in that, so what you have to do is at least 8 hours give to me. Do you understand 8 hours, or you just hear 8 hours and you say, 8 hours, okay? So 8 hours, Baba is specifying, give 8 hours every day to me. Remember me, churn the discuss of self-realization, remember your story of 84 births, keep churning it inside. Then Baba says, do my seva in that 8 hours. And the fourth thing Baba says is, give everybody the message that live like a lotus while you are living at home, and you will receive the inheritance from Baba. So Baba says, every day, if you want to come out of this vicious cycle, you have to give me at least 8 hours. Now, have you seen that when you are in school or in college or in university, then there are few days when you plan that I will study for 8 hours from today onwards. Yes, 8 hours study timetable. And then the first thing you do is you take up a notebook and a pen and you write down. So from what time to what time you will study what. So now that Baba has given us this, so Baba has actually been very liberal today, and he says that 8 hours do your job. So Baba says, you have a government job, do it for 8 hours. You have some job, some business, 8 hours I'm giving you. Another 8 hours, eat, bathe, sleep, your daily work, maintaining the body. That is another 8 hours. But 8 hours you have to give to Baba. So today take a notebook and pen and write. So make a plan. How will you take out 8 hours? And in that 8 hours, how will you accommodate remembering Baba, churning the discuss of self-realization? Churning the discuss of self-realization means remembering your whole story, not being limited to your identity of this birth, but remembering your qualities in the soul world, your qualities for 2 ages as a deity, and then as a worship-worthy soul, and then today the Brahmin that you are and the angel you're going to be. So Baba says, churn this, just remember your elevated stages and just go into that remembrance, go into that memory, just invoke that memory of your elevated stage by remembering it very often. So have you seen that, maybe in this birth also, as you age and your body gets older, you are not capable of doing some things. Maybe, lifting some weights or running or something or the other. You think you're not capable of. You're not capable of multitasking. But then one day you are having a chat with your childhood friend, and they remind you of how agile and active and alert you were and how you never wasted time. And that day you have so much energy, you can do so much more because that memory has been triggered. That part of you which carried that memory has been activated. Similarly, Baba says, if you keep remembering yourself in the soul world, so how were you in the soul world? Absolutely still, peaceful, and for very long you just were like a seed sitting in peace in the soul world. So if you remember that, you will invoke the capacity within you to be bodiless. So, if you just remember that I'm a soul and I'm sitting in the soul world, in the arms of light of Baba, soaking in the peace, and I'm just doing that for, a long time, and it doesn't matter, I'm not even counting the time. It's a timeless world. So, why can't I not stabilize myself in this awareness of a seed who is just peaceful while living in this world? So, the more you invoke, the more you go back to yourself as a soul in the soul world, your capacity to stay in this world but stay very detached from the body will increase. So similarly, every form, so when you remember your deity stage, so in your deity stage, you are in the body, you are among relationships, you're doing your work, but there are no vices. So the king is the king, the praja is the praja, but the praja is not feeling I am less than the king, and the king is not feeling I am greater than the praja. So there is mutual love, respect, and harmony. And the more you think about the Satyugi state, you will develop your capacity to live harmoniously in this world, because it is your body consciousness, your sense of I am greater, they are less, or I am less, they are greater, which is causing all the trouble. So when you are thinking yourself as greater than somebody, then you're always trying to tell them that you have to listen to me, and they are not listening to you. And then all your life it is a struggle where you are saying you have to listen to me, and they are saying I'm not bound to listen to you. But if we had mutual love and respect, the same work could be done even without you telling that person that you have to do this. So Baba says that this is how you will invoke your sense of self, where you are in harmony with every soul around and in harmony with the 5 elements of nature around you. So Baba says keep doing that, keep churning your different stages in the cycle, in the cycle of this 5,000 years. And then Baba says do seva. So take out some time for Baba's seva, because when you do Baba's seva, then obviously you remember the one you are doing seva for. Yes, so when you do seva, so that attitude of being humble and remembering Baba and doing it on behalf of Baba makes you very, very humble and makes you very, very detached and loving. So hold this attitude of a sevadhari and do things. So these are conscious practices you have to do. And then Baba says that also give everyone the knowledge that, or the message that you stay in the household like a lotus and remember Baba and take your inheritance. So whenever you meet somebody, there is a discussion and another person is saying that, I'm not respected, my love is not requited, or I'm not getting my due, then you have to teach them to let go of their anger, their expectations, their desires, and maintain peace and happiness come what may. Because it's not about what you get or what you're given, but what you're becoming. So underline this for everybody. So we meet several people in the day, don't we? Every day we are meeting so many people, and whenever anybody is talking to us, they are sharing things with us. They are telling us that, I have this problem and that problem in life. So somebody comes and tells you that I have a physical pain. So you have to tell them. So, sometimes we tell them, go to this doctor and I pray that you will be fine, and I'm sure that this doctor can help you. You're giving all that, and it is good that you're suggesting a doctor. But before that, you suggest that even if there is pain in the body, learn to be peaceful and happy. So it's not like, you will find a doctor, you will get cured, and then you will be happy. So you can be happy and find a doctor and get yourself cured. But that may take some time, that may take 10 days, 15 days. So why do you give up on your happiness today? Why do you give up on your peace today? Why don't you understand that you are a soul and your feelings are a product of your thought process? So when you think that I am happy come what may, and happily you look for a doctor and happily you look for a treatment, then that doctor and that treatment also you attract easily. So teach everybody. So whenever you are meeting anybody in an office setting, in a family setting, on the street, in the metro, wherever you are meeting anybody, just share with them how to live like a lotus while living in this world. So tell them that, it's the vices that are disturbing you. It's not the situations. So just, despite everything, learn how to stay peaceful and calm. And that is what will decide your future. So Baba says that these 4 things you have to do every day. Remember Baba, churn the discus of self-realization, do seva, and give everybody the message to live like a lotus in a household. But every day 8 hours you have to calculate and do this, and only then can you become elevated. So so you must understand that we are in big debt, big karmic debt. And so if you have a big debt, let's say there is a debt of 2 crores rupees, okay, then you understand that for paying off 2 crores and earning 2 crores by the end of this life, you have to earn some lakhs per month. Yes, so that you can spend, you can pay off, and you can save. So for all these things to go together, you need a good earning. Similarly, Baba says, our burden of sins, our debt is so huge that if you're not earning 8 hours of punya karma, it is very difficult to pay that off, have the energy not to make any more pap karma, and earn a good fortune. So Baba says, you want an elevated fortune, 8 hours is a minimum. So first take out a notebook and pen and decide, what is my 8-hour breakup, and how will I break it up between these 4 heads, and how will I go about it. At least do this exercise for a month. Then we will find some other permutation combination for it. So Baba says this is how you become elevated, and this is how you turn the tables. So right now we are in a situation where there is huge karmic burden and all problems are coming suddenly, and then we are going to go to a world where there are no problems at all, where everything is so tailor-made. And how do you shift? This is the shift you have to make every day for that ultimate shift to happen. So this is something that Baba is telling us today. And then today Baba says that you have to cross the mountains of problems by flying. So let's say you are walking and there is a mountain in your way. Then will you break that mountain and find your path? So there was somebody who was telling me about a man who carved a path by, breaking the mountain and found a way. But what if you could just fly and cross the mountain? So Baba says, why break the mountain? Just fly and cross it. And how do you fly? So today Baba is saying that even if the biggest tufan, the biggest problems are sitting before you, what you have to understand is, remember your attainments. Remember your attainments. Remember your present attainments and future attainments. So Baba says, you are in Sangam Yug, sitting in the lap of Shiv Baba, and you have the knowledge, the spiritual power, the peace, the love, the happiness, the joy that nobody has today. You have the knowledge of the three worlds, the history, the geography, everything. And then your future is the best that can be. In your future, you're going to be a deity who has everything that is conceivable by the human mind. So Baba says, when some situation comes, the first thing they do is they rob you of your happiness. Yes, they rob you of your happiness. They bring fear into you. They make you worry. And when you are in fear and in worry, then you are not able to respond appropriately. But even when there is a situation and you are able to remember that I had nothing before Baba, but today I have Baba, and I don't fear losing anything when I have Baba. So even if everything is lost, I am not at loss. My Baba is there and my destiny is preordained. I am going to be the king in Satyug. So Baba says, when you have this kind of a confidence, when you are remembering your imperishable attainments, then the problem or the fear of loss that problem is bringing will not be able to cast its spell on your buddhi, and you will not be swerved emotionally, or your decisions will not go wrong because you are under the sway of that fear or worry. So Baba says, always keep your present attainments and future attainments in your mind. And personally, I have always practiced that. I always tell myself every morning that when I came to Baba, I was empty-handed. I had nothing. And today, Baba, you have given me everything that I never thought I could have. You have given me every understanding. You have made me what I never thought I could become, so full of power and peace. And anybody can take away anything, but this cannot be taken away. So I am not afraid of anything. I am not afraid of any loss in the world, anything, because the fact that I have Baba and the fact that my future is the kingdom of heaven cannot be taken away from me, come what may. So when you move with this attitude, then you are able to give your best in every situation. And if you give your best, then God takes care of the rest. And then everything becomes okay. So this is Baba's teaching today. Om Shanti.